Good morning, squad. Welcome back to MadMizzy Sports Morning Show, the number one spot for everything sports talk, sports news, sports debate in the morning. Hope y'all had an amazing week last week. I was off all week, but I'm back strong this week. We got a crazy rundown this Monday. Of course, we got to start it off with the Final Four being set. Only one blue blood being in the Final Four. That's UConn. Was that a bad call last night to end out the Creighton versus San Diego State University game? Then we're going to continue my L-Jack watch. Is it racism that L-Jack isn't getting any offer sheets from any other team in the NFL right now? A-Rod watch. What are the Jets waiting on? And are they officially contenders to win the Super Bowl if they land Aaron Rodgers? Well, when they land Aaron Rodgers and NBA playoff push, more surprising, the Nets surviving in the Eastern Conference or the Dallas Mavericks failing in the Western Conference? Let's get right into it, gang. So let's start off episode 1010 breaking down the Final Four in college basketball and men's college basketball this year. I haven't even been watching men's college basketball this year at all because there's just no super big freshmen out there. You get what I'm saying? Everybody in the NBA is waiting for Wembanyama, who's playing professionally in France, I believe. So to me, I haven't really kept an eye on men's college basketball. It's been a crazy March Madness tournament though. And you got San Diego State versus FAU and Miami versus UConn in the Final Four. With UConn being the only blue blood left in the Final Four, are they the favorites to win it all? In my opinion, yes, simply because when it comes to men's college basketball, I'm a casual fan. I'm not going to say I sit up there and I'm studying men's college basketball. I'm not. I'm a casual fan. If it's big and it's popping, I'm going to tune in. If it's not, then I'm going to probably, let it go by the wayside. So to me, I'm looking at UConn. Ever since I've been watching sports, UConn has won at least, I'm going to say, 3 national championships. You look at the other teams, I don't even think San Diego State, FAU, and I know for a fact this is Miami's first time being in the Final Four. So I don't see any of those teams, their first time being in the Final Four, knocking off the giant UConn. You feel what I'm saying? Ever since I've been watching college basketball, UConn has been one of those top teams like Kansas or North Carolina, Duke. You get what I'm saying? So I'm not seeing UConn getting knocked off by Miami, and dang sure not by the winner of San Diego State versus Florida Atlantic. I'm sorry, I don't see that happening. Was that a bad call to end out the Creighton versus San Diego State game, though? In my opinion, yes, it was a bad call because, as everyone stated before, when you playing sports and then you got referees, you lay down how strict or how loose you're going to call the game. If you're calling the game loose, then when it comes down to a critical situation, unless it's egregious, you got to let it go. And if you're calling it strict, then when it comes down to that closing situation, players know, keep your hands or don't do nothing. You feel what I'm saying? Back off. If he make the shot, he make the shot. So to me, when you look at how that game between Creighton and San Diego State was being called, and for them to come back around and call that ticky-tack foul at the end of the game to get San Diego State to the free throw line and get them the lead, to me that was just a terrible call and a terrible way to end out a game that was probably going to end up being an instant classic. You get what I'm saying? So I think it messed up the end of that game simply because, in my opinion, throughout the flow of the game, that was never a foul. So you can't make that a foul just because it's on the last possession now. That's egregious. That's egregious and that's wrong. So yes, that was a bad call, and it probably caused Creighton the opportunity to make it to the Final Four. Creighton, who I did want to kind of see in the Final Four, see how they would have panned out. But yeah, that was a terrible call. You can't make that. If you're not making that call in the first minute, you can't make it in the last minute. That's just the general rule. If it's not the call in the first minute, it's not the call in the last minute. In my opinion, I always thought that critical situations, you always give a little bit more leeway to play anyway. Unless it's egregious, you get what I'm saying? Unless he, shoving him in the back, or you clearly whacking him against the arm and you hear the smack. Listen, you letting hand checking and all that go. You letting all that go. Let's move from men's college basketball to the NFL in Baltimore. Let's continue my Lamar Jackson watch. Is it racism in the NFL or collusion in the NFL that Lamar Jackson isn't getting any offer sheets from any other franchise in the NFL? I'm going to say this. I don't think it's racism. I do think it's collusion, though, and it is capitalism. The simple fact is we're not going to sit up here and act like A-Rod got a fully guaranteed contract. His contract is huge. He's making a lot of money, but it's not fully guaranteed. We're not going to sit up here and act like the only other 2 quarterbacks that have fully guaranteed contracts in the NFL aren't Kirk Cousins and Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson was the most recent one, and he got way more than what Kirk Cousins got. So it's not racism. It's not a race thing. It's a capitalism thing. Those owners in the NFL, the biggest sports league in the nation, the owners of those teams don't want to give up more money. They don't want to give guaranteed contracts to a more brutal sport, to a more dangerous sport, where you probably should give guaranteed contracts because a man can break his neck any play. You get what I'm saying? But those owners, they're not fading off of that. They're not fading off of we don't want to give out guaranteed contracts, especially astronomical guaranteed contracts where it's like $250 million guaranteed. You feel what I'm saying? So to me, it's collusion, it's capitalism, but I don't think it's racism. If it was racism, then they dang sure wouldn't have gave Deshaun Watson that bread. They dang sure wouldn't have gave Deshaun Watson that bread. And if I'm not mistaken, Von Miller got a fully guaranteed contract this past offseason. $100 million with the Buffalo Bills. So it's not racism, but it is collusion and it is capitalism. They're like, listen, we're not trying to fully change how we create contracts in the NFL. So I think they're standing 10 toes down on Lamar Jackson, and I think Lamar Jackson is standing 10 toes down on, listen, bro, if I was Lamar, honestly, I wouldn't mind if I might play a year, maybe 2 more, but don't get me wrong, I'll walk away and call, you know what I'm saying, and be an analyst. Jalen Rose is getting $3 million just to call games or just to analyze and do the TV shows on ESPN. How much you think Lamar Jackson would get? Probably at least $5-10 million a year to not get hit and just talk about football? Yeah, I'd step away from the game. And it's guaranteed. It's not like, oh, it's $5-10 million only if you do a certain amount of shows. No, it's a guaranteed salaried contract, just like the rest of the landscape of the world. The NFL is the only world or the only entity that gives out non-guaranteed contracts. Yeah, this is your contract, but this is the only amount of it that's guaranteed. Like, hold up. Anywhere else you get a salary, the entire salary is guaranteed. Anywhere in the world. But to me, no, it is not racism. It is not it's not racism, but it is collusion and it is capitalism. Let's move on. Let's move from Baltimore to the New York Jets. Are the Jets top contenders when they land Aaron Rodgers? And what's taking Aaron Rodgers and the Packers so long? To me, the long wait would be alarming if I was a New York Jets fan, simply because everybody's talking about it's going to happen, but why does it seem like it's almost just now being forced to happen? You get what I'm saying? Where it's like almost like the Jets are a little skeptical now and Aaron Rodgers is a little skeptical now, but the Green Bay Packers like, listen, we moving on with Jordan Love. We getting Aaron Rodgers out of here. In New York, y'all the ones that stepped up and said y'all want him, so we making it happen. You dig what I'm saying? We know the big difference right now is that the New York Jets don't want to give up their first round pick, but the Green Bay Packers are saying we don't want to trade a 4-time MVP for a 3rd or 4th round pick. So that's one aspect that's holding up the trade. But honestly, like I said, I feel as though I think the Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets are having second thoughts. You get what I'm saying? Which to me, if I was a New York Jets fan, would be alarming. And are the Jets top contenders when they do land Aaron Rodgers? I would say absolutely not. Absolutely not. They would probably be, I would say, the 3rd best team in the AFC East. But then you think about the AFC and you think about Joe Burrow, the Cincinnati Bengals, you got Josh Allen, the Buffalo Bills, you got Lamar Jackson, the Baltimore Ravens, possibly. Then you got the defending champions of the Kansas City Chiefs, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes. Then you got Justin Herbert and the Los Angeles Chargers. Listen, that AFC is stacked. I'm expecting Deshaun Watson to play a lot better next year. Then you think about the run game with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt and David Njoku out there, the defense and Myles Garrett. Listen, man, that AFC is stacked. And if Aaron Rodgers isn't fully invested into winning, then they're not going to be top contenders. Even if he is fully invested, they're probably not going to be top contenders. The NFC has always been weaker than the AFC, especially the past 10 years. And Aaron Rodgers couldn't get over the hump in the NFC. I think it's going to be a lot harder to do that in the AFC. So I'm going to say no, they are not top contenders in the AFC when they get Aaron Rodgers. Let's move on from the NFL to the NBA. The NBA is getting ready for their playoff push. We're about, a little over 2 weeks away from the first round of the playoffs, a little under 2 weeks away from the play-in tournament. Who's more surprising, the Brooklyn Nets surviving in the Eastern Conference or the Dallas Mavericks failing in the Western Conference? For me, I'm going to say the Dallas Mavericks failing in the Western Conference because I look at the Eastern Conference and how they were left. They were left in like the 4th, 5th seed. And then I just look at the bottom half of the Eastern Conference. Who would have came up and knocked the Nets out anyway? You get what I'm saying? It's not no team over there that you're like, it's not like, you get what I'm saying? Like over in the Western Conference, you had the Golden State Warriors at the bottom. You had the Los Angeles Lakers at the bottom. You had the Los Angeles Clippers at the bottom. You had a couple teams at the bottom of that list in the Western Conference that you like, oh yeah, they gonna start climbing. Who was you saying that about in the Eastern Conference? Nobody. So I had a feeling that the Brooklyn Nets would be able to stay afloat, especially with Kevin Durant, your two best players, saying y'all not good enough. Y'all in the NBA, they all in the NBA. You think they ain't had no pride to say, listen, we gonna show them we a playoff team without them two dudes. So for me, it's the Dallas Mavericks. Y'all went out your way. Y'all went and traded away some of y'all best defensive assets to the Brooklyn Nets to acquire Kyrie Irving, and y'all been absolutely dreadful since acquiring them. Point blank period. We can make the excuses why. We can predict why. At the end of the day, they're terrible. They're not even in the play-in tournament right now. Right now, I think they are the 11th seed and one game out from the 10th seed. That's pitiful, bro. That's absolutely pitiful. This is the same team that was just in the Western Conference Finals last year. Come on, man. After this, if they literally can't make it into the play-in tournament, I don't want to hear about Kyrie Irving as an elite point guard in the NBA. I don't want to hear it anymore. He's an elite talent, yes. Isn't he an elite point guard? Does he affect winning at an elite rate? No and no. I just don't want to hear elite and Kyrie Irving in the same sentence if they can't even make the play-in tournament. They should be able to make the play-in tournament even if Luka was hurt and they just had Kyrie out there with Christian Wood and those dudes. You feel what I'm saying? That's pitiful. What's been going on in Dallas is absolutely pitiful and dreadful. Pitiful, man. I can't even wrap my head around how bad they've been. You feel what I'm saying? I'm thinking they gonna lose in the first rounds. They might not make the play-in tournament, B. Come on, man. Kyrie Irving fans, y'all need to come out and talk to me, baby. Come out and play. Because what they've been doing down there in Dallas has been, to me, it's clearly the Dallas Mavericks failing in the Western Conference, and it's revolving around Kyrie Irving because that team led by Luka Doncic last year was in the Western Conference Finals with Jalen Brunson. You get what I'm saying? So, listen, you got to look at Mark Cuban. Why didn't you re-sign Jalen Brunson instead of going out and messing up the chemistry and bringing in Kyrie Irving? Bad. Let me know what y'all think, though. This is MadMizzy Sports Morning Show. Final four being set. San Diego State versus FAU. Miami versus UConn. Is UConn being the only blue blood left in the Final Four, the favorites to win it all? Was that a bad call at the end of the Creighton versus San Diego State University game? LJack. Then I continue my LJack watch. Is it racism going on in the NFL that Lamar Jackson hasn't gotten an offer sheet from any other franchise in the NFL? Aaron Rodgers watch. Are the New York Jets top contenders to win it all, to win the Lombardi Trophy when they land Aaron Rodgers? And NBA playoff push. What's more surprising, the Brooklyn Nets surviving in the Eastern Conference or the Dallas Mavericks absolutely imploding in the Western Conference? MadMizzy Sports Morning Show. Like, comment, share, subscribe, listen, alert. MizzyWorld Entertainment. Gang.